The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Paul James here. Give me a quick one in the chat box. Let me know if you can see the screen okay and hear me okay and all that good stuff. Awesome. Okay. How does the volume sound? Is the volume okay? Great. Awesome. Cool. So, first off, thanks a lot for coming on the webinar at such late notice. I know that I didn't give you much of a notice, but it's just something I wanted to do. Some changes that I noticed taking place. And I really wanted to, kind of hold this webinar to make sure that we can convey the changes that are going on. It's something I notice as I'm out here doing this stuff every day, and I just wanted to share it with you. So before we dive in, let me just kind of get a feel for who we have on the call today. How many people here, if you've never been on one of my webinars, just put a 2 in the chat box and let me know. Okay, let me know if you've been on one before. If you haven't, just put a 2. Okay, so we've definitely got some new people. Perfect. I see a lot of familiar faces though too as well. Familiar names on the chat box. So awesome. All right, how many people here know nothing about Google Maps or Google Local? Put a 3 in the chat box. Hey, what's up, Austin? Welcome. Okay, so we're going to be doing a lot of talk about Google Maps. There's not many people here who don't know about it, but for those who don't, we'll go through just kind of a brief overview of what it is, and then we'll jump into what's changed and some of the things that are taking place right now. So just so we're all on the same page, basically Google Maps is this little box of listings that pops up if you were to go in and search for, say, HVAC contractor Waukesha. So basically niche plus location. You don't really even need to put the location, actually. I mean, Google will detect your IP address. You could also change that too under this search tool section. So I'm in West Bend, Wisconsin. So if I were to go and search for HVAC contractor and leave my geomodifier off of there, it would pull results from West Bend, Wisconsin. But because I want to search Waukesha, I just punched it in the search. So the first thing that you notice pop up is this pack of listings right here. So this is known as the Google Maps listings, or they call them Google My Business right now. This is the name that they're coining for this. And they change it all the time. It used to be called Google Places, used to be called Google Plus Local, and now it's just called Google My Business. But most people just refer to them as Maps, just because of the name changes. So a couple different components to these listings. And one of the changes that you'll see is when they first implemented this 3-pack change, the phone number was gone. We're noticing them coming back. We've seen them come back with the phone number and then take it away right away. But we've been seeing it remain pretty steady that the phone number is there now, which I'm really, really happy about. I was advising everyone to put phone numbers in your metadata, which I've done down here, as you can see, because my listing is not only ranking here in the 7-pack for my client, but it's also, we're also taking up the first and second position as well for this particular keyword. So that's one really cool thing. I don't know, are you guys seeing the same thing on your end, that phone numbers are showing up? I know that's something that, was a real big deal for, a lot of local SEOs weren't very happy about it, that the phone numbers were gone, and we saw them kind of pop in and out. But they're showing up now, so that's a good thing. A lot of people are putting in the chat box that they are seeing it too as well. So that's great news because that boosts up conversion rate. So we can only hope that Google will keep that there. Another thing that you'll notice about these listings is the reviews, right? Social proof is a big determining factor of whether or not someone's going to actually decide to, give that person a call or not. So that's big. So anyways, bottom line is my company, we use these listings to generate leads for our clients. And that's a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is how we leverage these listings to generate leads for our clients. We see anywhere between 30 and 50 phone calls a month when we get our clients listed here. And we do it in a unique way. So typical SEO is, the way it works is you rank their site on the first page of Google and they pay you. And after that, what's to stop them from not paying you anymore, right? Because once they're ranked, the business owner thinks, hey, why am I still paying you a monthly fee? What, what do I need to pay you for? I'm already ranked, right? Anyone here run into that problem? Let me know if you've run into that problem. Just put a yes in the chat box. Okay. Yeah, lots of yeses. So you've had clients who they just decide not to pay you anymore. So normally there's really nothing that you could do about it because you've already put the time and the money and the effort into ranking them. So the first thing that I'm going to recommend that you do is when you work with a client, you're going to want to use their name. So like Waukesha Home Heating, is the name of this company. I'm going to want to use their name. The other thing I'm going to want to use is their address. You can see my client doesn't have their address showing because I set it up that way, but some of them do. Like Kelly's HVAC, it has their address here. So you're also going to want to use that. Those are two things that aren't going to change. But the things that you can change and that I highly recommend that you do change is number one, the phone number, because you can change the phone number and you can own that phone number. And number two is the actual website URL. So like if I were to click on website here and it were to take me to the website, you can own this URL. So the way you'd want to do that is if their website is waukeshahomeheating.com, I wouldn't recommend going out and registering waukeshahomeheating.net, for example. Like you wouldn't want to have something that close to their business name. The reason why is because that website can't be changed or used for anyone else. Whereas if we register kind of like a generic domain, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something generic, like maybe reliableheatingprofessionals.com, I can use that domain for any heating company, regardless of, what their company name is. Reliable Heating Professionals can work for my Waukesha Home Heating client. If I take on Kelly's HVAC, if that company didn't pay me and I wanted to work with their competitor, like Kelly's HVAC, that same domain name can be branded to anyone. I can easily swap out the logo. I can easily swap out, the About Us page, anything. So that's really cool. Can you guys see my screen okay? I see a couple of people say they can't see the screen. Let me know if you can see it. Okay. Almost everyone can see it. So if you can't see the screen, you're going to have to relog because everyone else pretty much can see it. Okay, cool. So if you relog back in, you should be able to see it, but most people are good. All right, cool. So the way I like to find URLs before we jump into changes is I just use this tool, Flawless URL, and I come in here and I type in like, a niche or like something that I want in the URL. So like, let's say, for example, I want it to say HVAC Pros. Like I know that I want my domain to have those words in it. So from there, I know hvacpros.com isn't going to be available. So if I come in here and type in popular prepens and hit generate domain names, it'll attach popular prepens to that phrase. So I can see that first hvacpros.com is available or best HVAC Pros is available. And that's an easy way for me to go ahead and pick out like a domain that can be highly brandable to anyone I work with. So essentially what I'm doing at this point is I'm becoming a landlord, right? I'm becoming a landlord. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of my effort and work into that website that I own. Okay, no one else owns it except for me. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to lease that asset to them. So what we can do is we can link that asset up to these map listings here. And when you do that, all of the power and all of the work that you put into the website is going to affect their listing and it's going to make it rank. Like in this case, we're ranked number 1. Does that make sense? Give me some 2s in the chat box if that makes sense. If they don't pay, I delink it from their listing and they lose their ranking. So it's a really powerful concept that I came up with probably 3 or 4 years back because I got sick of clients not paying me after they were already ranked. Now if they don't pay me, they lose their ranking. And in turn, they lose all the results from it too, They're not getting those 30 to 50 phone calls per month anymore. So, yeah, that's the way you want to do it. So Larry says, do you create a totally new site and rank it, or do you point your new domain to their website? No, you use a totally new site, and with the help of their listing that already exists, you rank it, which we're going to get into today. All right, awesome. So Yeah, you do want to do citations sometimes, Mark. Mark's asking about citations. And here's the thing with that. Remember I said the other thing that you can own is the phone number? So I recommend you pick up a tracking phone number for your client. And you can find those on any kind of website, like callfire.com is one that sells them. Twilio.com is one that sells them. Depending on where you're based. If you're based in the United States, Callfire is probably what I'd recommend. They also, I think, work in Canada. If you're in like the UK or Australia, I think Twilio is pretty much your go-to. Like for everything other than US and Canada, Twilio is probably your go-to. But what they do is they lease you this number. It costs you like $1 per month. And then you own that phone number. You can track all of the calls that come in through it. So every time someone comes into Google and types in HVAC contractor Waukesha, right? And they pick up the phone, they call this number, I can see exactly when they called, I can see how long they stayed on the phone for, and I can take that and turn it into a nice report at the end of the month, or however often I decide to send it to the client and say, look, the work that you're paying me for every month, $1,000 per month or whatever you're charging, that's what we charge our clients on average is $1,000 per month. The work that you're paying me for, this is the fruit of it, okay? This is what has come to fruition. 30 to 50 calls or whatever many came in. So that's what's really awesome. And again, it all comes back to being like a landlord. You know, you're just leasing an asset. It'd be no different than if you went and purchased a home and leased it to, you know, a tenant, a renter, and you collected that rent every month. So as long as you pick out a low-hanging fruit niche and you don't go after something too competitive, you can rank these listings using your own website and your own phone number, but their listing, you can rank them within a matter of 3 to 4 weeks, and you don't ever have to touch them again. We've got most of our listings, I would say probably 80% of them, we never touch again. We rank them and we never touch them again because there's just like no competition, and this is a good example of one that has no competition. We're the only one here in the 3-pack that has a 5-star rating. So who do you think people are calling when they need a Waukesha heating contractor? Obviously, they're calling us. All right. So I see a lot of questions coming in, and we're going to get to questions. So if I don't answer them, just throw them in the chat box, and we'll get to them. No worries. And I'll stay and answer questions for as long as we need to. But I do want to move on and cover some of the changes first, and then we'll start getting into questions. So the first thing is how many people here saw the new dashboard? How many people here noticed this new dashboard? Put a 1 in the chat box. This is something that happened, I don't know, maybe in the last couple weeks, week or two maybe. So it's totally changed, looks totally different. And that's why I wanted to throw this webinar together. And you may see it, you may not. They're rolling it out right now. So you can see it looks pretty awesome. I really, really like it. I really like the direction that Google is going and what they're doing with maps right now. I haven't been this excited about it for a while because, you know, Google, they make all kinds of changes and start to irritate everybody because right when you think you got stuff nailed down, they do something else and you have to adapt. So you might see it in your dashboard, you might not. So the first thing I'm going to recommend to you, the first change moving forward, is start managing all of your future clients on one dashboard to make things easier. Okay? In the past, I recommended that you create new Gmail accounts. You really don't have to do that anymore. I stopped doing it a while ago. Because I've talked to a lot of Google reps over the past few years, and they're totally fine with agencies. They're totally okay with, you know, people hiring me or hiring you to work on their listings. That's not a problem at all. And in the past, I don't think they felt that way so much. I think that they didn't really like that so much. They wanted business owners managing their own listings. They didn't want, you know, them hiring people. But now they're okay with that. I think they've gotten to the point where they're accepting it. It's kind of like AdWords too, you know. They're okay with AdWords agencies. They actually have a program designed to train people to run AdWords and to hand out coupons to their clients and get them advertising, because the way they see it is if they're training other agencies and those agencies are getting people to sign up, it's more money for them at the end of the day. And now that they've got AdWords built into Google My Business, you know, if you click on like manage location on one of these, you can see they've got like the AdWords Express ads built right into it. I think they're getting to the point where they're okay with it. So moving forward, I would create one main Google account, like your business email address, and use that to start managing all your clients. It's just going to simplify things, especially with their new layout and their new dashboard. That's just kind of what I'm recommending moving forward. Now, I wouldn't go back probably and merge all your clients into one account, because that's just going to kind of be stressful. But moving forward, this is just kind of the way that I would do it. In addition to that, they have a couple different views here, and we'll just kind of go over those, and then I'll stop and answer some questions, and we'll talk about how to create a new listing and what's changed there as well. But they have a couple different views. So this is like their grid layout view. And this is like a nice layout if you're not looking at too many at once. You can actually change how many of your different businesses that you want to look at a time. Like if you wanted to look at 50 locations at a time, and you had 50 different clients, you could look at that many at a time. But they also have this list view. And this is nice if you're managing multiple locations at once and you needed to edit them all at like one time. That's what this would be kind of good for. Now, the other cool part about it is they have these little status tabs over here, which kind of tell you what information might be missing. So you'll notice this one says missing store code. Now, if I were to be working with this company and they had, let's say, 10 different stores, I might want to add in different store codes so that I can label them, so that in the future when we're working on a listing, they might say, hey, store, 123 needs some work. Can you please check this one out, or something like that? And then I can easily locate it and just keep things organized. But if you're just working on like a single location and you see, this status, you don't have to worry about it. But other statuses you might see are like this duplicate address status. Now, I've said it a lot in the past, you'd never want duplicate content. If there's a duplicate listing out there, you need to claim them both and get rid of it. So they make it pretty easy to kind of see anything that you might be missing right off the bat. And this listing says duplicate address because I put it in there as an example just to show you. And we'll kind of run through that more. But so far, from what you guys see, any questions so far? We're going to run through some more features, but hopefully this stuff is helpful. Let me know if it's helpful. Otherwise, if you have questions, let me know that too. So Philip says the dashboard means that you can manage all of these properties. That's exactly what it means. So this main dashboard, I can put all of my clients. And here, let me show you what I was talking about. I'm going to switch back to the grid view. Let me show you what I was talking about. If I click Manage Location on Waukesha Home Heating, and I hit this side menu up here, look at this. They have this section called Managers, where you can actually invite people to manage the page, which is awesome. It makes it really, really easy now to come in here and get new people in to manage it. So if I had an employee that I wanted to manage it that worked for me, I could invite them to manage this listing. So it's pretty awesome, and they have that stuff available there, which is really nice. So that's pretty cool. Okay, David says, so you can only have one website in Google Places, and you want it to be your website, not the client's. That's exactly right. So what you can do is put your website in there and put all of the work into optimizing in your website. And if they cancel, you take your website out and put their old one back in. Nothing wrong with that. You be very upfront with them when you sign them up and say, look, the way we rank you is because our website has all of the power behind it. And when we put our website into your listing, that's what's going to rank you. If you ever decide you don't want the service anymore, we'll take our website out and put yours back in. That's it. Yes, there will be a replay, for sure. We'll get a replay out tonight. John says, is this similar to the AdWords My Client Center account idea? I think it kind of is. I think that's kind of exactly what it is. So, yeah, I really, really like the new layout, though. I like what they're doing with it. Brian says, so no more using CC Cleaner and masking, your IP? No, I don't think it's necessary. I really don't think it's necessary anymore. Okay, John has a question about, have they simplified the verification with Postcard? So you still need Postcard verification. Many of you know that someone went into the White House's Google Places listing and edited the title of it maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. And since then, you can you can bet that Google is not going to ease up on verification measures. So you're definitely going to have to, either postcard or phone verify, and that's not going to change. But one thing that has changed is they've made their support very accessible. If you click this menu, check this out. There's a contact support tab now down here. And if you ever run into any problems, they have an email and phone support thing right here to easily get in touch with them. And the phone support is amazing. The way it works is you click on it during business hours. It has to be during business hours or it won't work. It'll say that they're closed. And they'll ask you to type in your phone number, and they literally call you within like 30 seconds. And if you have any questions, if you're having a problem getting the listing verified, they have reps that are very good at assisting you. Now, that being said, the reps are just employees. They're not experts. In fact, I guarantee that you'll probably know a lot more about Maps listings just by watching my webinars than they probably know. But when it comes to things like claiming listings, or if you need to get listings merged together or something like that, you can tell them exactly what you need to do and they'll help you do it. A lot of times with verification, if you run into problems, you can do something as simple as send them a picture of the outside of your building, and they'll get you verified right away. So very, very cool stuff that they have going on right now. Okay, can I show you how I swap out websites? Yeah, absolutely. So you come over here, you hit edit, and right here where the contact info is, it's as easy as swapping it out, typing in whatever you want it to be and saving it. It's not going to trigger re-verification, nor is a tracking phone number. That's it. That's all you do. I'm not going to save it. I'm going to cancel that. But that's it. It's very, very easy to do, right? All of the work that you put in the website is yours. So you're simply charging them a rental fee. Okay? And same with the phone number. You can easily change the phone number back as well. Same spot. Won't trigger re-verification. The thing that will trigger re-verification is if you change the address, the street address. So if they move, that would trigger re-verification, but that's why we don't touch the address much. Okay. Awesome. All right, cool. So let's move on. So we've covered that. The other thing is Google Plus is kind of in the air right now, right? That's their social network that they tried to start. So they used to call this whole thing Google Plus Local, and really what it was their attempt at trying to get everyone to sign up for their social network. So they forced business owners who wanted a Maps listing to sign up for it. They forced those business owners' customers who wanted to leave a review for that business to sign up for it. And basically, it didn't really work out so well for them. I think that they've thrown in the towel. So right now, the Plus pages are still on the listings. You can get to them right here, Google Plus Connect with your customers, which kind of signifies to me in a way that I don't know if they're going to remove Google Plus pages entirely. It's hard to say. But the fact that they have it here and they're still telling people to engage and it pulls up the Plus page kind of signifies to me that they're not doing away with it anytime soon, but only time will tell. And then the other way to get to it is hitting this menu drop down as well, and you can get to the Google Plus page. So I would still recommend connecting this Google Plus page with your actual website. And now if you're using my theme, I've got the EasyWP Local theme. You simply just plug in the URL or whatever, the URL code, and it'll generate the badge. But you can really use any theme. You can type in Google Plus page badge, and there's a developers page in Google that will allow you to generate the badge here. So, you can pick your page, and then you can generate the badge and paste this little snippet of code onto your website. So I still do recommend tying that in with your website, although I don't really know what the future of it will be with Google Plus. But for now, I still would kind of keep it. Okay, Lenny asked a good question. Is Google Plus where clients leave the reviews? So they're kind of merged together, actually. So if we actually look at the view of the business, let's go ahead and do that. So this is like the view of the business here. If I were to click on a listing, if I hit write a review, it's not taking me to the Google Plus page. it does it right within Maps now. So basically like maps.google.com. So they're kind of all merged together. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Jay says, how can we get your training and prospecting strategy? I can talk about that more at the end. I mean, I do have like coaching and stuff like that if that's something you're interested in. But we'll talk about that at the end after we go over all the updates. And if it's something you want to do, I can definitely tell you how to apply for it. Phil says, so do you recommend changing the name slightly for a business for each location if a business has locations in 11 places within one state? You can if you want. It's really up to you. I think that either way is fine. We've done it both ways with our clients, and it really hasn't made too much of a difference. I think in terms of with citations and stuff like that, it helps keep things a little more organized, but it's not something that I think you have to do or don't have to do. So it's up to you. I think it's a personal preference, really. And I would talk to your client about it as well. Michael says, so the consumer needs a G Plus account to leave a review. I don't think they need a G Plus account. They just need a Google account. So I think if I remember correctly, when you sign up for Google, it automatically creates a Google Plus account. So I think that'll be created automatically for them anyways when they create a Gmail account. So for reviews, a real easy way to get reviews is any clients that your customer has that either walk in the door or if they're visiting their house or something, if they're like a heating company, if they have an Android-based device, they can leave a review from that device because that's a Google-made device and they have the maps built right into it. So for example, if they pull up in their Maps app, and I'll just show you, I'll go to maps.google.com. This is basically what they would see on the Maps app, which is what Android users use for their navigation, I believe. I have an iPhone, but I've had an Android phone in the past, and this is, a common app that they're accessing. You can literally come in here and type in the business name, and boom, pops up, right? So you can leave your review via that way as well. And you can do that from a device. Now, the cool part about doing it from like a mobile device is that it's always going to be a different IP, which means the reviews are going to stick. Also, they have to be signed into a Google account. So they don't have to like enter in their username and password because they're already signed in on an Android device. Like you need to have an account created and signed in to even use the phone, which is awesome. So it kind of removes a lot of barriers to leaving a review. So it's kind of a cool strategy that we use and that we tell our clients to use too. All right, so I want to talk about picking out a low-hanging fruit niche, and we'll get back to questions, but I want to make sure I cover this stuff. So one of the ways to kind of first pick out a low-hanging fruit niche, and it's kind of easy to pick this out, is when you type in your niche and your location, look to see if they have websites attached to their listing. So that's kind of the first way. I mean, if they don't have a website attached, like these two don't, that's a really good indicator that it's severely low competition. Like you could just come in and dominate this easily. Okay, this doesn't happen all that often though. I mean, there's still a lot of niches where you'll see no website attached, but it's not something that like, oh, if I see a website attached, I'm staying away or something like that. But it just is an indicator that it's very, very low competition. The next thing I look at is reviews. Do I see everyone in the 3-pack has, 30, 40 reviews? If I see that, I tend to stay away. If I see they have a lower count of reviews, then I'm thinking this is great. They don't have many reviews. Okay, but then the final thing I check, and the most important, is I want to analyze how many backlinks and the quality of their backlinks, most importantly, that they have, because that's going to give me a good indication of how much work I'm going to need to put into the website. And if you're anything like me, you're trying to put in as little work as possible for as much return as possible, right? If you can put in less time and get more out of it, that's the better, especially when you start, having a lot of clients. And when you get like me, you get to a point where like time is really valuable and you don't want to be spending your time in places where it's unnecessary. So if you can analyze one of these low-hanging fruit niches first and spend less time and get the same return, that's what you want to do. So the way I do it is I click on their website, load it up, grab the URL, and I use this tool called majestic.com. And there's plenty other ones out there. You can use a lot of other tools like ahrefs.com is another one. Open Site Explorer, which is made by Moz, they have one. I just personally love this user interface, and this tool I think runs you about $100 every quarter, so like every 3 or 4 months. Totally worth it though. I would highly recommend it if you're in doing this stuff and doing SEO. Highly recommend this tool. So you punch in their URL into this tool of your competitor and hit search, and it's going to give you a breakdown of how many backlinks they have. So there's this metric which says external backlinks. I ignore this metric, and instead I pay attention to this one, referring domains. So this tells me that they have 19 backlinks pointing back to their domain. Okay, 19. So I like to see this number under 25. Okay, now if I came in and I saw that JJ had 25 and then the other two only had like 3 or something like that, that would be okay, because if I can claim spot 2 or 3, that's going to be fine for me as well. I don't have to claim number 1. I mean, I want to, but I don't have to. So if I see spot 2 or 3 has low profiles, but JJ, spot 1, has a high profile, I still would consider it. If all 3 of them had referring domains over 25, that's probably when I would back away and think about moving towards a different niche. Okay, so here's why I pay attention to referring domains rather than external backlinks. So referring domains tells you every separate website, whereas external backlinks, they might have 129 backlinks, but they're only coming from 19 separate domains. So really it's only like 19, because they might have created backlinks on different pages or different posts on that site, which is why it shows so many. So when you see these two numbers far apart, that signifies that they could have a spammier profile. They could have went and got a bunch of blog comments on the same site. So that's one thing to look at, which if I get some high quality backlinks, I might only need to get 5 to 10 to compete with them. The other thing that you can look at is the relationship between this number, the trust flow, and this number, citation flow. If these numbers are far apart, like 19 and 31 is really far apart, that also signifies to me that they don't have the strongest backlinking profile. And again, that means that I can probably get fewer high quality backlinks and outrank them pretty easily. And then also, if all else fails, you just go and look at the referring domains and see exactly where they're getting their backlinks from. Right? It gives you a pretty good idea of, if they're legit sites or not. So if I were to come in here and see a bunch of spammy domains or Russian sites or something like that, I would know that they probably didn't have a very good backlink profile. So that's a tip that'll save you a lot of headache and a lot of time right off the bat. You can pick out a good niche really easily. So keep this number under 25 if you can. And then if it starts to creep up close to 25, start paying attention to your trust flow and citation flow metrics and how close together they are. Okay? Is that helpful? Give me some 3s in the chat box. Let me know if you have any questions. No, Patrick, this is live, but I am recording it and I will put out a replay. All right, cool. So let's talk about, first off, before you even research, I want to kind of state the obvious here. And I have to state the obvious because I get this question all the time. You have to see a 3-pack before you enter a niche. Like if I were to go to Excavator Cedarburg and there's not a 3-pack, don't enter the niche. Just because you create a listing and try to rank it doesn't mean that Google's going to come in and say, okay, we're giving you a 3-pack now, and now you're going to show up. If there's not one there, it's very likely that there won't be one there, ever. So don't enter the niche. There has to be one there. You have to see this little box. If you don't see this box, don't even consider it. Okay, now you can notice this looks like a listing, but this is not to be confused with a map pack. Okay, this is not the same as this. What you're seeing here is a mixed listing, which is why I wanted to show you this example. They're simply pulling the data from this company's map listing, and this happens sometimes, but this is by no means a 3-pack. And if you were to go and create a listing in Excavator and Cedarburg, you probably aren't going to get a 3-pack to show up, and you'll just have wasted your time. Okay, here's another example of one that you should not go with. Excavator West Bend, right? No pack of listings. Stay away from it. All right. Okay, so let's say you're working with a client and you're ready to actually go in and start their listing. So obviously, one of the first things you should do is you should go and pick up a call tracking phone number, go and register a generic domain. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to head into your dashboard. So you access this dashboard. I'll put it in the chat box. It's google.com/business. So you're going to have to sign into your Gmail account first, and then you'll be able to access your dashboard. And you'll come down here and you'll hit this little plus sign. And you're going to click this one right here where it says add a location. And then you're going to be brought to this screen, which probably looks really familiar to you. You can see they've done away with that little like intro screen where you had to choose storefront or service area. They've done away with that now, as far as I can tell. I mean, it might show up somewhere else that I didn't find out yet, but as far as I can tell, they've done away with that screen. And now you come in and you search for your business just like you normally would. So if I were to go and search for Cornerstone Dental in West Bend, for example, I can click on it. I can select, whatever listing. Look, they have some problems going on here, which is why I use it as an example. They have duplicate listings, right? 2 listings twice. So if this were my client, I would go and I would claim both of these listings and I would delete one of them. But anyways, click on it. They're going to ask if you're authorized to manage it if the listing already exists. And if you do have permission, you can go ahead and you can get the postcard verification triggered. I'll show you what it looks like. So it's going to say they're setting up the page. And then, boom, mail me my code. Now, sometimes they'll give you the option to phone verify. Not always, but sometimes they will. And in this case, you'll just reach out to your client and let them know that Google's going to be calling you and write down the PIN number. But most of the time, you're going to be doing the postcard. They'll send the postcard in the mail. You'll get the PIN number. You'll pop back into your account here, hit manage location, and a verification thing will pop up here for you to enter in the PIN number. Okay. I didn't get the PIN number sent out, but if I were to have had the PIN number sent out when I hit this verify thing, it would give me a spot to type it in. Okay. The other thing you might see is when you go and you click plus and add a location, and you type in, your business's name or address or phone number, and you click on it, it might say that someone else has already verified this listing. And in that case, you're going to have to request admin rights, and it'll take you through a little wizard of how to instruct your client to do that. So that one's pretty straightforward. And then the last scenario is that when you type in your phone number or your address or whatever, they just couldn't find it. And at that point, you can click this thing and you can start creating your listing from scratch. So enter the name, the address, the city, the state, zip code, your tracking phone number or their business phone number. If you want to start with that, you can always change it later. And then this section here, the category. So I want to talk about the category. Everything else is really obvious, but the category might not be for those who are new. So the categories are predetermined for you, basically. In the past, we used to be able to stuff keywords in here. And like, for example, if we wanted them to rank for heating Milwaukee, we would type heating Milwaukee for a category. But a couple of years ago, they did away with that, and you can't do that anymore. So now what we do is we just start typing in what we think people will search for or what they might be listed under. So I start typing in the word heating, and they give me a list of drop-down menu here that explains what categories they have available related to heating. So I normally, at this point, write these down on a piece of paper. I have a text document here. So if heating contractor fits, I'd write it down. And write down all of them that are applicable. Even if, if all 3 of them were applicable, I'd write down all 3 of them. So then I might try HVAC. If that one is applicable, HVAC contractor pops up, I'm going to write that one down. And the reason why we're doing this is because we're going to use this stuff when we start building out the website. Okay, furnace. I'll start typing in furnace. I get furnace part supplier, furnace repair service, furnace store. So I'll go with furnace parts supplier and furnace repair service. So this is what I call my category research phase. Air conditioning contractor, air conditioning repair service, both of those are good. Okay, so at this point, I'm ready to I would hit continue, and it would take me to get that postcard sent out. And then I'd have to verify it. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for that verification to come back, I have some work that I can do. And my work is going to be the website. I'm going to go and register a generic domain, and I'm going to start building out the website. But I need to make sure that I'm building out the website around keywords that get good traffic, because it doesn't do me any good ranking under something that doesn't get good traffic. So the way I do that is I use their AdWords keyword tool. So anyone can use this. You just go to adwords.google.com, sign up for an account. You don't have to advertise or pay anything, but they probably will ask you for information to sign up for it. They might even ask you for a credit card number to keep on file. I'm not sure if they do anymore or not. But you don't have to run any ads. They're not going to charge you anything to use their free tool. So you come in here, hit Tools, hit Keyword Planner, and we're going to start doing a little search. Okay, so here's what you want to do. Start with your locations that you want to target. So make a list of maybe the 4 or 5 locations near that area. And I like to do the 4 or 5 around it because most people service around their area, number 1, and number 2. If keywords are good in Milwaukee, chances are they're going to be good in Brookfield, which is just 10 miles away too. So I kind of want to get a full picture of exactly which ones, might be good. So if you're from the area, this is going to be easy for you to make out the list. If you're not from the area, you might need to look at a map. Okay, so we're going to hit search for new keywords. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come down to this all locations thing, and we're going to type in these locations that we picked out, right? So let's just start typing them in. Milwaukee, add. West Bend, add. Waukesha, add. Wauwatosa, add. Brookfield, add. All right, great. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these categories and I'm going to punch them into the box here. Now, in addition to the categories, I'm going to start making up words that I think I would search for if I were looking for this service or this company. So I think I might type in heating and cooling. I might type in heating and air conditioning. I might type in HVAC company. I might type in heating and cooling companies. I might type in heating company, so on and so forth. I'd come up with a pretty long list. And then from that point, I'm going to hit Get Ideas. And we're going to click this Keyword Ideas tab. And boom. So we have a pretty good list of exactly. I didn't save my locations in here. I knew something looked funny. So let me enter my locations back in. Got to make sure you save your locations when you enter them in. Otherwise, you're going to get skewed results. All right, there we go. So this is going to refresh our results. Okay, there we go. So now we get a list of the data that we were ready to analyze to be able to go and build the website out. All right, so we've got our term. The top box is exactly what we typed in. The bottom box, Google is suggesting these keywords to us because they're relevant to what we typed in the box. So we're going to spend some time going through and analyzing these keywords. Now, the 2 most important categories that we're interested in, or columns that we're interested in, are average monthly searches, which tells us how many times someone in these areas searches for this specific phrase. Okay, so people search 140 times per month roughly for heating and cooling in these areas. And then the other column I'm really interested in is the suggested bid column, which tells me how many people or how much people are paying for an ad for this keyword. So if I were to go and type in heating and cooling into Google, and I were in one of these cities, if I were to click on one of these ads on the side here, I would be getting billed roughly $12.70 a click. Okay? $12.70 a click. So that's crazy. So sometimes I'll see a keyword like heating contractor, and Google tells me they're only getting 10 monthly searches per month, but people are bidding $34.28 on it. What does that tell me? That tells me that this is a really good keyword, most likely, and that this 10 monthly searches data is probably skewed. Google's not perfect. So when they don't have the number or they don't have enough data to give you an average number, they'll usually just put 10. So this will help you determine whether that is right. Because I've had keywords that I've ranked, and Google tells me it only gets 10, and then we'll get like 50 calls per month on it. It's crazy. So this number is a good indicator. So we use both of them. So here's how I sort my keywords out. I want to show you this slide right here. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. So this is how I prioritize. This is my order of operations, and hopefully this stuff is helpful. Give me some 2s if this is helpful. I want to make sure I'm not boring you. If I'm boring you, give me a 4, and I can move on to something else. Okay, great. Lots of 2s. Awesome. Okay, great. So it was getting quiet in the chat box, but it's probably just because everyone's paying attention, so that's good too. All right, cool. So here's my order of operations. Number 1, does it pull a 3-pack? Right? Because I'm trying to rank in the map listing, so if my keyword doesn't pull a 3-pack, it's not that important to me. All right. 2, monthly search volume. That's my next important thing. I'm going to take a keyword that has a higher monthly search volume over something that gets a higher cost per click. Okay, and then 3 would be the cost per click or suggested bid. So like if one keyword had the same monthly search volume as another one, then I would go and look towards the cost per click next, and whichever one had the higher cost per click, that's the one I would go with. So that's my order of operations. So what I like to do is I like to take an Excel spreadsheet, and I like to create 4 columns in it. So keyword is my first column, monthly searches is my second column, suggested bid is my third column, and then 3-pack with a question mark is my 4th column. So just like it sounds, like heating and cooling is my keyword. It says it gets monthly search of 140. It says it gets a suggested bid of 1270. And does it pull a 3-pack? I want to know. So heating, cooling, and if I'm targeting Milwaukee, I'll just tack on Milwaukee, so I'm pulling that area. Boom, there's a 3-pack. So my answer is yes. So this will help me quickly analyze the data very fast using that order of operations, right? So let me give you an example. I'm going to type in another keyword. Let's say HVAC contractor. Let's say it gets a monthly search volume of 140, a suggested bid of $46.21. Okay, I'm going to show you my order of operations again on the screen. I want you to pay very close attention to it. Make sure you understand. This is in order of importance. Does it pull a 3-pack? Monthly search volume, whichever's higher. Cost per click, whichever's higher. This is my order of operations. So now I'm going to give you a pop quiz, okay? Based on my order of operations, which keyword is more important on my list? Is it keyword 2, column 2, or row 3? Row 2 or row 3? Put it in the chat box. Which keyword is more important based on my order of operations? 2 or 3? All right, great. Almost everyone is right. There was a couple people who were wrong, so let's walk through it. Okay, so order of operation, monthly search volume. They're both the same. Suggested bid. Okay, HVAC contractor wins that one with a higher suggested bid. Are we going to go with that one? Well, no, we're not, because order of operation says the most important thing is that the keyword shows a 3-pack. And guess what? HVAC contractor would have won, but it's not showing a 3-pack. And since that's what we're trying to rank in, that would pretty much X out this keyword. So those of you who said number 2, you guys won. You guys won. Good job. So you guys are paying good attention. I'm glad that you're understanding, and hopefully like this kind of quiz and interactive stuff is helpful. So how does that translate into structuring the website? Now that you understand how to find the good keywords, how does it translate into structuring the website? So let me show you that. So this is how I structure the website. I want you to think of each box on this diagram as a separate page on your website. Each box is a separate page on your website. Each arrow that you see signifies a link going to the next page on your site. So essentially what you're looking at is a website where every page is interlinked together to the next. Okay, so let me show you how this breaks down. The home page is going to be your page where you're converting the prospect. Okay, you're converting the prospect here. You're not really optimizing this for any specific keyword. It's more of like a general overview, telling people what you want them to do, call us, fill out the form, we give free estimates, that kind of thing. But moving downwards now, you want your most important keywords to be first, to interlink first, right off the home page. Okay? And then your lower important keywords, those come, last. So they're your last priority based on our order of operations. So that's how the flow works. So straight off the home page, I would link to my most important keyword. And then, second most important, third most, fourth most. But here's where things might get a little confusing for you. Because why do we have these other columns? So here's what I want you to know about columns. When I say columns, I'm talking about these boxes that I just put in red here. Relevance, okay? Relevance. You want to keep your columns in relevance. So most important keywords, but keep them relevant. So here's what I mean. This box might be about heating. This box might be about AC. This box might be about ventilation. Do you see what I'm saying? Relevance. So my first most important keyword about ventilation, here. Second most important keyword about ventilation, here. Third most important keyword about ventilation, here. Now, does it matter how many you have? No. If I only have 2 ventilation keywords, that's fine. Then these 2 would go away. It just depends on how many different terms you want to rank for. Okay? How many different terms you want to rank for. So let's talk about the AC. Most important AC keyword here. Second most important AC keyword here. Right? Makes sense? Give me some 4s in the chat box. Does that make sense? Awesome. So each page is interlinked together. So if I have a page here about, and the keyword is AC repair, and that's my first, and then my next box is about AC install, I'm going to have a link on this page that goes to this page here. So you literally just follow the arrows. How do you link them together? Well, I use WordPress. In WordPress, you would just highlight your word and then hit that little chain link button and then type in the URL of this page. You know how each page gets its own URL? Here, let me show you. So let's say I wanted to link HVAC contractor here. I would edit this page and then I would link it over to AC contractor if that's where I wanted to go next. So I would grab the URL here and link it. Does that make sense? Yep, so you're just grabbing the URL. Okay, that's it, guys. There's no need to overcomplicate it any further. Do your keyword research, map it out on an Excel sheet just like I showed you, and follow the order of operations. And then I just draw this out, this silo diagram that I showed you. This is a silo diagram, but I use the specific one that I showed you for maps. Map it out on a piece of paper. Just draw boxes on a piece of notepad paper or whatever, and you can map it out that way. But you really don't have to make it any more difficult than that. Rick says, is it harder to rank more pages? Actually, the more pages you have, it can actually work to your favor because content is king with SEO. Google's all about having good content. So if you have more content, it can sometimes work in your favor. Now, you want to make sure it's unique content. Don't curate content. Don't copy it from another site. Don't do any of that stuff. If you want your SEO to last for a long time and not get hit by penalties, good content is key. Now, that being said, the more pages you have and the more keywords you have, we're talking 300 to 500 word articles on each page that I want you to put in there in order to rank good. So that becomes a lot of work, right? Yeah, what app did I use to make the silo structure? It's just PowerPoint. But to be honest, I don't map it out in PowerPoint with a client. I actually just draw it on a notepad. But I'm really sloppy when it comes to writing, so I thought it'd be easier to demonstrate to you in PowerPoint. This one I don't have siloed actually, this site. I see someone saying, can you show me a link at the bottom of your page? I don't have this site siloed. I ranked this site before I actually would silo my sites. So because this particular niche had no competition, I didn't have to go as far as to even silo. It was just enough to have good content and reviews for this particular niche. Where do I get content? I use iWriter. iWriter.com. They're a good source for content. Ned says, I used to teach categories across the top of the silo. Is that what I'm teaching now? What I'm teaching now is exactly what I just mapped out to you. So if your category, let me explain that better. If my category ends up being the most important keyword based on my order of operation, then sure, it's going to go at the top. But if not, then it's going somewhere down here, depending on where it falls in place in my order of operation. So I did change things up a little bit. Okay. Brian says, am I still charging $997 per month to my clients? And does that include the call cost? And how much does my setup cost? So that's our average, Brian. We have some clients that we charge only $497. We have some that we charge more. But that's just the average. And for a setup fee, we normally charge $1497, so $1,500. That's just the average. I include my call tracking number in that price, so I don't charge them extra for calls. Now, if it started to ever get excessive where it was just like crazy and they had their friends calling the tracking phone number and talking for 3 hours or something, then I would address it, but it's never really been a problem. So I normally just include it just to keep things simplified. All right, awesome. Cost of content, it's $4.50 an article, Rick. So, I mean, we normally do around 6 to 7 articles per site, just depending on how many keywords we're trying to go for. So that should give you an idea. Joshua says, do I do per lead pricing? If I have a good relationship with the client, I do that. Or if I set up a lead generation listing where I rent a mailbox and I create a listing and kind of use like a fictitious business name, I'll do per lead. But if I'm working straight with a client, I like to do monthly. I prefer to do that. All right. Awesome. So let's hop back to what we were talking about. Someone had asked a question, how can I get into your training and do you have any programs that can help you get going with this? And I absolutely do. I do these webinars just to keep current customers updated because I've got a lot of current students in, my training already. And this is just to keep them updated on what's changing and stuff. But I do invite new people on here. That's why I asked at the beginning how many new people we had on the call and who's ever been on a webinar before. And for those new people who haven't participated in my training, I will extend an offer for you to join in if you want. I do these free trainings all the time. So, I mean, this is just a very, I would say not really an in-your-face pitch or anything. If it's for you, it is. If not, that's cool too. I still appreciate you hanging out with me tonight, and I hope that you learned something anyways, because I'm all about providing value and content. But if you do want to, 10 times your business and you want to really step things up a notch, the fastest way to do that I've found in my career is working with someone who already knows what they're doing. You save a lot of money, you save a lot of time by avoiding the mistakes that they learned from. I made a lot of mistakes over the past 5 years since I've been doing this full time that had I had a mentor to show me, I could have avoided. Now I had a mentor with other stuff, with regular SEO, but I didn't really have a mentor when it came to maps. I didn't really know of anyone doing it. So had I had a mentor for maps, that would have helped. But I'd love to be your mentor if it's something that you want to pursue and something that you need help with, and you need help landing clients. I've got sales funnels I can walk you through. I've got scripts I can give you, and I would love to work with you if that's something you want to do. That being said, I don't want to work with everyone. This isn't something that I just put a buy button up and say, here you go buy it. And there's a reason for that. It's because I understand that not everyone's a good fit for it, and that I may not be a good fit for everyone as well. You finding a mentor is, you need to find the right person that your personalities blend well together, and you need to be at a certain stage maybe in your business before you want to work with a mentor. So I'll invite you to fill out this application. It's pauljames.com/workshop. And to be totally upfront with you, I have 4 spots left in my upcoming group. And it's a mix between group coaching, it's 6 weeks long, and one-on-one. You get one-on-one calls 2 times a week with me, as well as one group session where we go over kind of like the homework that I want you to work on throughout the week. So I've got exactly 4 spots left in this. The cost of this is $3,000 for the 6 weeks. Many people recoup that investment back because they land a client, and obviously that client's paying you every single month over and over again. So many people, we've had students land 5 to 6 clients actually within the 6 weeks, and that's awesome. I love when that happens. But it's $3,000. That being said, I have 4 scholarships available right now. They're $1,000 off of that price, the scholarship. And all you have to do is apply, and if I think that you're a good fit for it, I'll extend that scholarship offer to you, which will help you out with the price. But I've only got 4 of those left, so it's obviously a first come, first served basis. So fill it out right away. We'll get in touch if I think you're a good fit, and we'll hop on a call. We'll decide, kind of the plan of attack for you. I'll ask you some questions. I really just want to find out where you're at with your business right now, and basically come up with a game plan for you. And again, if our personalities blend well together and I think I can help you, I'll extend that scholarship to you for $1,000 off of that price, and we can get going. This is taking place this upcoming week, so you have to act quick. I've only got 4 of them available, so that's kind of the deal with it. But there you go. Let's do questions. If you want to apply, it's in the chat box, and I'll stick around and answer some questions, and then we'll wrap up. I appreciate your time. I know it's Sunday, it's the weekend, and some of you are probably going back to your work tomorrow, so I appreciate your time and spending it with me this evening. Let's see. If they are showing as number 1 in the 3-pack, what is the benefit to them to have you manage their listing? There's no benefit, Michelle. So you don't want to work with someone who's already ranking, because that would be pointless. They're already ranking. So yeah, you definitely want to go after someone who you can help, who isn't ranking. So it would be like if I worked with someone in the mentorship program who already has a thriving 7-figure local marketing business and is landing a bunch of clients. Like, that wouldn't be my ideal person to work with, because they already have a great business. Awesome. Rick says always great stuff. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate that. And regarding your other question, you can hit me up via the support desk. My support desk is paul@pauljames.com. You can just shoot an email there. This is different than my training courses, Rhonda. This is coaching. This is one-on-one coaching. So, yeah, you can go and buy a gym membership and try to figure out how to use the machines yourself and work out, or you can hire a personal trainer to really help you, use the machines and tell you what you should eat and tell you what to do and when to do it and fast track the results. So that's that's huge. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. Big time. Rick says, which address do you use when creating a site? Rick, like I said, use client's address, client's business name, but you're going to use your own phone number and your own website. Do you need to have an AdWords account to do your keyword research? You do. That being said, you don't have to pay to run any ads. You can just not run any ads and not pay anything and just use their free tool. Yes, Matthew, I will have a replay. Yeah, Michelle, look for those that are lower than number 3 is a good strategy. Another good strategy is to look for those who haven't verified their listing. You can just go to maps.google.com and you can type in dentist near Waukesha, for example, or whatever area you want to search in, and you can just start going through, right? And you can click on their listings and you go through and look. Basically, the top 3 in this list are going to be the top 3 ranking. So you can click on them and go through and scout them all out. And it should go, there should be several pages of it. So you can look at them all. There's just tons and tons of them in here. Okay? So hopefully that's helpful. Hey Patrick, if you want, shoot me a email. I don't get on Skype at all. Very rarely do I get on Skype unless it's to chat with a student. So if you want, shoot me an email, paul@pauljames.com, and we can take a look at it. I'm just going through questions. That's why I'm a little quiet, because some of them are duplicate questions. Am I finding that reviews on Google outweigh other reviews in terms of ranking? Reviews definitely help, yeah. It's definitely a big factor. Not the main factor, though. We've ranked stuff without doing reviews at all a lot of times. Jack, ETA is within the next 30 to 45 days. We're working on it. Rick says, so I cannot create a site until I land a client to use their address. So you could start creating the site. If you already are decided on a niche and a location, there's no reason why you couldn't get started on the site. But you wouldn't be using that site to rank their listing until you've settled on a client. Unless you wanted to do a lead gen listing, in which case you would go and rent a mailbox. Can't be a P.O. box, but you can go rent a mailbox or a virtual office, and you can create like a fictitious business name. Call it something generic, and you could rank your own listing under a generic fictitious business name and sell the leads. You could do that too. I have a lot of students doing that successfully. I started off doing that successfully. I did 6 figures my first year doing that. So it's definitely a viable option too. It's just a little more, I guess, not as predictable in terms of your income, because your income is going to be based on how many leads come in then. Not a P.O. box. Mailbox rental, you have to have a street address. You can't say P.O. Box 123. You can say Suite 123 or number 123, but you cannot say P.O. Box. Okay, awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. I appreciate your time tonight. I don't want to keep you for much longer. If there's a question that you're dying to know and I missed it or skipped over it, again, you can hit me up, paul@pauljames.com. For those of you guys who are going to apply for the workshop, really look forward to speaking with you and helping you 10 times your business and really helping you out a ton, because it's going to be awesome. All right, guys, we'll catch you later. Take care.